Sometime in this life, you and I are just going to have to survive. We're just going to have to walk through it. God is not going to step in at this time. There are some things that is going to take place in this life where you and I are just going to have to bear whatever we have to bear in order to survive what we're going through. No one is coming. Now is the time that we're going to have to learn to survive. Sometimes life can get so difficult, and we don't know which way to turn. We don't know what to do. We don't really and truly know who to trust. We don't have those people in which we can call on in that moment and in that season. Because what God have done, He have removed everybody so you and I can learn to truly trust in Him. And also to just learn to survive. Trust in the Lord with all of thine heart. Lean not to thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge Him, and He shall direct your path. There are some things that would take place in our lives that we do not know what to do. We don't know which way to turn. And the only thing that we're left to do is to trust God. Trust the word in which we have been studying and reading and meditating on for years. But a lot of time it becomes so difficult till we don't even know how to trust. Even in the very word that we live by. You know, God promised to never leave nor forsake us. So then when life get difficult, do we really and truly trust in the Lord with all of our hearts? When our bills are due and our loved ones are sick and we're sick ourselves and the economy is going crazy. Gas prices, egg prices, clothing, housing, shelter, everything is going up, up, up. But your pay is staying the same. But you're telling me to trust in the Lord with all of thine heart and lean not to my own understanding, but in all my ways acknowledge Him, and He shall direct my path. And then you say to the Lord, well, God, I'm trusting you. I need you to come through. Because now these bills are due. And my mortgage company don't want to hear that I don't have my mortgage. My boss don't want to hear that I had to take another day off from work because I don't have gas money to go and put gas in my car. Those crying babies don't know what to do or where to put those words when you say that you don't have money to buy milk or food to feed them. But you're supposed to trust God with all of thine heart and lean not to thine own understanding. I get it. That life, this life in which we live in, guys, It's difficult. And no matter how long you have served God, there are some things that will take place in your life that will shake your foundation of faith. And you will begin to doubt the very God that you trust with everything. You know, He promised us so many things. He promised to never leave nor forsake us. But it seemed as though you feel all alone sometimes. And the world begins to feel less human. The people of the world, some of the people of the world, begin to feel less human. And it seems as though humanity has come to a screeching halt. And people aren't the same as they used to be. It seems as though people are only concerned with themselves. And it leaves you and I to wonder, will it get better? Or will it continue to descend down into destruction? I'll talk about this world in which we live in. And in the hearts of men and women have grown so cold. This life isn't fair, guys. And I think that once we realize that this life isn't fair, we give ourselves a fair chance to pick our own self up when it get difficult. Or we give ourselves the opportunity to just set with what we need to set with in life. But we need to always remember it won't always be like this. Life is filled with swift transitions. I've lived long enough to know that today might be the day in which I'm going through. And it seemed as though hell have unleashed itself on my life. And everything seemed as though it is going wrong. Seem as though everything that I touch turns to rust. And I began to not give myself enough grace to know that life is filled with swift transition. After all the things that I have suffered in this life, I need to remember God can turn it around just like that. So when we begin to feel as though this life is just beating us down day after day, and we begin to say to ourselves, when is it going to stop? When am I going to get a break from all of these things in which I'm encountering? And then God began to open it up. Open up life to you. And the sun begins to come out again in your life. And you begin to see God move again as He has always done. Then you begin to rejoice again. Because now things are going the way in which you and I would want it to go. But won't it be a testament to your faith and a testament to my faith that even when it get dark in this life, just like I trust him when the sun is out, I need to have that same type of trust for him when life get cold and rainy and dark and dreary. And the slippery slopes of trials and tribulations of life begins to take place. And it's hard for me to stand, because life just constantly seems as though it is knocking me down. Each and every time I pull myself up from another trial. Even during those difficult times, I need to remember that if God did it once for me, he would do it again. But what I do is I find myself being distracted by the things of this world. And I begin to take my focus off of him. And I begin to not be in my word like I used to. I'm being distracted by the things that is taking place in this life. And then the further I see myself getting away from the Lord in the teaching of the word, my faith began to drift. And then when life come a calling, with the swift transitions of life, now I find myself not being able to focus and have that faith that I need like I always had and once had, to know that all things work together for the good of those who love God and to those who are called according to his purpose. And it's began to get hard to stand up under that, because I hadn't sat and communed with the Lord in a while. So now the small things in life begin to shake my faith to the core. Just because I haven't been communing with him and praying and talking to him like I used to in the past. You see, our relationship with God is very, very important. We should not allow anything to interfere with our relationship with God. It is everything. It keeps us afloat when life itself is trying to drown us with one hit after another. This, that, this. Our faith in God will be tested. But will our faith be able to withstand the trials and tribulations of life? We're living in some difficult times, guys. We're living in some difficult times. There are so many people who are distracted by so many things in this life, failing to realize that we're one sickness away from being homeless. We're one less payment of being without electricity. We're one less paycheck of families being hungry. Because we're distracted by a lot of things. and life trials and tribulations have set in, will you be able to withstand it? Or are you going to keep trusting God when it get dark and difficult? Or are you going to allow your faith to just fall by the wayside? And you just throw your hands up and say, oh, forget this. I'm going back out into the world where I feel safe and comfortable. Even though you see, and I see, that this world will eat you alive. But there's a lot of people who once trust God. But when life got difficult, they stopped trusting Him. And they went back to what they knew. That which felt comfortable, that which felt good to them. The things of this world felt good to them. So they went back. Because trusting in a God in which you can't see can become difficult in the darkest of your trials. It can become difficult. Even for that child of God who have trusted God year after year after year. But the pain of life trials wasn't at an all-time high like it is now. But now you see that it seems as though life won't let up. And now your faith is taking a hit. Hit after hit after hit. And then you begin to say to yourself, I can't do this anymore. I won't do it anymore. So you give up. You stop trusting. Because you feel as though you've been let down too much. And you stop trusting. And you begin to play with the idea of going back out into the bitter world. But you ponder that thought because you know that out there in this world, you're not prepared for it. And so you begin to think once again, I choose to stick with God. Because I know that no matter how difficult this life get, I'm safer with Him than being out there. So what you come to realize, the best thing that you can do in this life, although it is difficult, you come to realize the best thing to do is just trust the process. Because, oh yeah, it will get tough. But no matter what we face in this life, as children of God, We know what the word teaches. That no matter what we go through in life, trouble don't last always, and that this too shall pass. So no matter how dark life get, don't you go back out there into this world. Stick with our Heavenly Father, because He know all things work together for the good of those who love Him and to those who are called according to His purpose. I'm not saying that it is easy to always trust God like we should, but it is always wise to trust God with it all. I'm not saying it's easy, because it's not. Because sometimes we have some difficult tasks in this life that we have to complete as God's children. But we got to stay the course. And we got to trust Him with all of our heart. And to not lean to thine own understanding, but in all our ways acknowledge Him. And He shall, and He will direct our path. This is my moment. This has been a rambling, chosen moment. Be blessed, guys. Stay the course. And don't take your butt back out here into this bitter, dangerous world. Stick with God. Be blessed.